The galaxy was in fear. No planet, no fleet, no civilization could stand against the Zalrath Empire. They were ruthless, unstoppable, and hungry for power. Worlds fell like dominoes, bright cities turned to ashes, and entire species vanished, in silence. Even the Galactic Council, the most powerful assembly in the stars, could only watch. They whispered in fear, debated endlessly, and made plans. But in the end, they did nothing. At the edge of the Milky Way, on a small blue planet called Earth, humans were not afraid. They were preparing. For decades, hidden from the eyes of the galaxy, humans built ships, weapons, and fleets far beyond what anyone expected from a planet considered primitive. Earthlings had been quiet observers, underestimated, mocked, even. Other civilizations saw them as simple creatures of curiosity and entertainment, not as warriors. But humans had something that no one else had: courage, creativity, and a refusal to surrender. On the bridge of the Resolute, the largest and most advanced human warship, Captain Amina Khalid looked out at the stars. Her brown eyes reflected the faint glow of distant suns. Every star was a possible threat, every shadow a warning. Around her, crew members moved with calm precision, but the tension was like a thick fog. Amina's heart beat steadily. She knew the mission ahead was dangerous. Millions of lives depended on them. Lieutenant Jiro Tanaka, her second-in-command, leaned over a holographic map of the Zalrath's movements. "Captain," he said, voice low but urgent, "the reports are worse than we thought. Entire sectors are already gone. The Council, they've given up on them." Amina didn't flinch. "Then we will not give up. The galaxy may think Earth is weak, but they are wrong. We will show them what humans can do." Her voice carried over the bridge like a promise. It was strong, calm, and filled with conviction. Outside, the ship, Earth's Armada, was ready. Hundreds of vessels, sleek and deadly, floated silently in the void. Each one was a masterpiece of engineering, designed not just to fight, but to survive, to outthink, and to adapt. Humans had learned from every battle they had studied in history, from every failure and every triumph. They were not the largest fleet, but they were precise, clever, and unyielding. Meanwhile, far across the galaxy, the Zalrath Empire laughed at the news of Earth. Commander Virak, a towering figure with gray armored skin and eyes like burning coals, studied the human planet through the view screen of his flagship. "This one?" he snarled. "A small, weak world? Nothing. It will fall like all the others. Prepare the fleets. No one will stop us." But the humans were already moving. The warp drives hummed, lights flickered across the bridges of hundreds of ships, and the Armada leapt into the dark, silent paths between the stars. For the first time, humans were stepping into the battlefield not as observers, not as victims, but as warriors who refused to bow. Amina watched the stars stretch and bend around them as the Resolute jumped into warp. Her mind raced with strategies, possibilities, and hopes. She thought of her crew, of the countless humans who had trained, sacrificed, and waited for this moment. She thought of the worlds already destroyed and knew the price of failure. Yet, she also felt something else, a burning fire in her chest, a determination stronger than fear. The galaxy did not know it yet, but the humans of Earth were coming. They were not just ships. They were courage made real, will made steel, and hope made flesh. And the Zalrath, arrogant and cruel, had no idea that their first mistake would be underestimating humans. This was the moment the galaxy had forgotten, the moment that would change everything. Earth would no longer be ignored, and the story of humanity's courage was about to begin. The human fleet moved like a shadow across the void, silent but deadly. Hundreds of ships glided through the darkness, each one ready for the fight that would decide the fate of countless worlds. For decades, humans had studied the Zalrath, learned their tactics, and prepared for every possible encounter. But nothing could truly prepare them for the moment when battle began. The first clash occurred near the Shattered Belt, a region of space filled with jagged asteroid fields. It was dangerous terrain, even for the fastest warships, but humans turned it into an advantage. Their small size and speed allowed them to weave through the floating rocks, dodging energy blasts and striking the enemy with precise, calculated attacks. Lieutenant Jiro Tanaka's ship, the Intrepid, zipped through a cloud of asteroids, dodging fire from a massive Zalrath destroyer. "Captain, they're closing in fast," he shouted over the comms. The destroyer's weapons glowed red, firing relentlessly. Amina's voice was calm, but firm. "Hold the line, Jiro. Focus on their flagships. Hit their command systems first. Keep the fleet together." The human ships worked as one. They were smaller, fewer, but they moved with a harmony that surprised even themselves. Every ship knew its role, every crew member knew the stakes. They struck like lightning, fast and unexpected, using every advantage they had. Suddenly, a massive Zalrath battleship appeared, bigger than anything the humans had faced before. Its energy cannons flared like the sun itself, tearing through shields and sending smaller ships tumbling into the void. Sparks flew across the bridge of the Resolute and alarms screamed. "Evasive maneuvers. Launch fighters," Amina commanded, her eyes never leaving the view screen. From the Resolute, hundreds of human fighters exploded into the battlefield. Small, agile, and armed with plasma torpedoes, they swarmed the massive battleship. Explosions lit up the darkness. As engines flared, weapons fired, and the Zalrath hull began to crack. For a moment, fear rose in the human crews. This ship was immense, and its firepower was overwhelming. Many wondered if it was their final battle. But Amina's voice carried over the comms like a lifeline. "Courage, everyone. Stay focused. We fight for those who cannot." The fighters pressed on, weaving through energy blasts, dodging debris, and striking weak points in the enemy hull. With a final coordinated strike, the massive ship erupted in a blinding explosion. Its destruction sent shockwaves through the surrounding fleet, scattering smaller Zalrath vessels. The humans cheered briefly, but there was no time to celebrate. The Zalrath forces were relentless, their numbers vast. Yet, something had changed. The enemy hesitated, surprised by the humans' strength and unity. For the first time, the Zalrath realized that Earth was not a weak world to be ignored. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, other species watched in disbelief. Reports from sensors showed a small human fleet holding its ground against an empire. Entire worlds that had lived in fear now whispered in hope. Perhaps this tiny planet, overlooked and underestimated, could be more than a victim. Perhaps humans could make a difference. Back on the Resolute, Amina looked at the stars, her heart pounding. She knew the road ahead would be longer, more dangerous, and filled with sacrifice. But she also knew something else. Humans had proven their courage. Today, they had shown that even against impossible odds, determination and will could bend fate itself. Jiro glanced at her, a smile tugging at his lips despite the tension. "Captain, we're doing it. We're actually doing it." Amina nodded, her eyes hard with resolve. "This is only the beginning. The galaxy thought no one would come. But we are here, and we will not stop." The human fleet surged forward, engines glowing, weapons ready. In the darkness of space, a new hope had been born. The first battle was won, but the war had only just begun. And somewhere deep in the Zalrath command, fear began to stir. Far away from the battlefield, in the gleaming halls of the Galactic Council, the leaders of countless worlds sat in stunned silence. They had always assumed Earth was insignificant, a quiet planet with curiosity and ambition but no real power. They had not counted on humans being brave, clever, and relentless. Ambassador Ryla of the Saren race stared at the holographic screens showing the human fleet in battle. "It cannot be," she whispered. Her claws trembled as she leaned closer. "They are smaller, far fewer in number. And yet, they are winning." The Saran elder beside her shook his massive head in disbelief. "Impossible," he said, his voice deep and grave. "No species of this size, no fleet of this scale could resist the Zalrath. And yet..." His eyes reflected a mixture of fear and awe. Across the council chamber, delegates murmured anxiously. Reports arrived from every sector. The humans had held the Shattered Belt, destroyed a massive Zalrath battleship, and protected countless colonies that had been abandoned. Other races had given up hope, but Earth had not. Humans had not even asked for permission or help. They had simply acted. In the midst of the council, a human transmission appeared. Captain Amina's calm, confident voice echoed through the chamber. "We are here. You asked who will save the Rim worlds. Humanity will. Join us, or step aside. The galaxy cannot wait any longer." A silence followed. Every leader, every observer, felt the weight of the words. Humans, once considered weak and insignificant, were now demanding respect. Their courage, their refusal to surrender, spoke louder than any weapon. The message was clear. Earth had arrived, and the galaxy could no longer ignore it. Meanwhile, on the front lines, the humans continued their relentless advance. The Zalrath fleet, shocked and confused, could not understand how so few could resist so many. They had crushed countless worlds with ease, yet Earth's fleet moved with precision, courage, and teamwork that seemed almost unnatural. Humans anticipated attacks, adapted to every tie. Tick, and struck with deadly accuracy. Lieutenant Jiro Tanaka watched the enemy from the Intrepid. "Captain," he said, his voice tense. "They're hesitant. They've never seen resistance like this before. They don't know what to do." Amina's eyes narrowed. "Then we remind them. Humans never give up. We fight no matter the cost. Every loss we take only makes us stronger. Remember why we are here. Every world saved, every life protected. We are not just a fleet. We are hope." As the human ships pressed forward, the Zalrath fleet began to falter. Confusion spread like wildfire among their ranks. Commands were delayed, strikes misfired, and coordination collapsed. For the first time, an empire that had believed itself unstoppable felt fear. On distant planets, civilians who had cowered for generations watched the broadcasts. Children and elders, workers and scholars all saw the tiny human ships facing the impossible. Hearts that had been heavy with despair now lifted. The humans of Earth had sparked something the galaxy had long forgotten: hope. Back on the Resolute, Amina stood on the bridge, gazing at the chaos and the courage displayed by her crew. She thought of the sacrifices they had made, the families who had sent them into the void knowing they might never return. She thought of the countless worlds counting on them, and in that moment, she understood something profound. Humanity was no longer just a single planet. They were a symbol, a force that could inspire the entire galaxy. What began as Earth's secret armada had become a beacon of courage and determination. Captain Amina's voice broke the silence of her ship. "The galaxy has forgotten what courage looks like. It is time we remind them." And with that, the human fleet surged forward, engines glowing, weapons ready, and hearts steadfast. Across the council chambers, across the countless stars, a new truth began to spread. Humans had arrived, and they were unstoppable when driven by purpose and will. Galaxy would never forget Earth again. The battle raged on, stretching across the shattered belt and into the open void beyond. The Zalrath Empire, proud and arrogant, had underestimated Earth, and now the consequences began to show. Their fleet was massive, terrifying, and well-armed, yet the humans fought with precision, courage, and a unity that even the Zalrath could not comprehend. Captain Amina Khalid stood on the bridge of the Resolute, her hands gripping the console, her eyes scanning the chaos. Every blip on the holographic display represented a life at stake, a world depending on them. Her voice rang calm and firm over the comms. "All ships, focus on their command centers. Break their coordination. We do not retreat. We fight for every world they have destroyed." Lieutenant Jiro Tanaka checked the weapon systems. "Captain, they're reinforcing the dreadnought. If they regroup, we could be overwhelmed." Amina's jaw tightened. Then we hit harder, faster, smarter. Humanity doesn't wait for luck. We create it. The human fleet surged forward with renewed determination. Smaller ships darted around massive Zalrath cruisers, striking weak points, firing plasma torpedoes, and drawing enemy fire away from the larger vessels. Fighter squadrons swarmed the dreadnought, weaving through its energy beams, striking engines and shields with pinpoint accuracy. For a moment, hope seemed fragile. Explosions lit the darkness like a storm, and the Resolute shook under the impact of heavy fire. Crew members worked tirelessly, repairing damage, managing shields, and keeping morale high. Each human knew the stakes. If they faltered, entire sectors would fall. Yet no one wavered. Then, the turning point came. With a coordinated strike, the humans overloaded the dreadnought's power core. A massive explosion erupted, shaking the surrounding fleet. The Zalrath flagship, the symbol of their empire, trembled and then disintegrated into glowing fragments. The remaining enemy ships faltered. Confusion spread like wildfire. Without their command ship, their coordination collapsed. Virak, the Zalrath commander, roared in frustration. Impossible. How can such insignificant creatures? But the humans did not pause. The fleet pressed forward, pressing the advantage. Every strike was precise. Every maneuver calculated. The smaller Zalrath ships began retreating, scattering in panic. For the first time, the Zalrath realized that their dominance could be broken. On distant planets, civilians watched transmissions from the human fleet. Children pointed at the screens, eyes wide with wonder. Families held hands, tears streaming, as they witnessed a small group of humans standing against an empire that had destroyed countless worlds. Fear was replaced by hope. Despair was replaced by belief. Humanity was proving that courage could reshape destiny. Back on the Resolute, Amina felt a mix of exhaustion and pride. The bridge was battered, alarms still ringing, but her crew was alive, determined, and ready to continue. "We've done something they never expected," she said quietly, almost to herself. "We've shown the galaxy that even the smallest light can shine in the darkest void." Jiro placed a hand on her shoulder. "Captain, we've changed the battle. The Zalrath are on the run. They're afraid." Amina nodded. "Yes, but we cannot stop. Every world, every life counts. We fight not for glory, but for survival. And humanity. Humanity will never give up." As the fleet advanced deeper into the Zalrath territory, a new energy pulsed through the human crews. The fear of facing an unstoppable enemy was gone, replaced by resolve. They were no longer just defending. They were liberating. They were inspiring. And across the galaxy, species that had once cowered in fear began to take notice. Alliances formed. Fleets began to move. The small, underestimated humans of Earth had sparked a revolution. Their courage had become contagious. The turning point was clear. The Zalrath could be defeated. Humanity had proven it, and the galaxy's heart began to beat with hope once more. The war was far from over, but for the first time victory seemed possible. Captain Amina's gaze drifted to the stars. "This is our moment," she whispered. "We fight for all who cannot, and we will not fail." Victory came at a heavy price. The human fleet, though stronger in spirit, had suffered enormous losses. Ships were shattered, hulls torn apart, and crews lost to the void of space. Every explosion left a scar on the surviving vessels. Every silence in the communications channels carried the weight of lives that would never return. Captain Amina Khalid walked slowly across the bridge of the Resolute, her boots echoing on the metallic floor. Her eyes, once fierce with determination, now carried a shadow of grief. She had led her fleet into impossible odds, and humanity had prevailed, but not without cost. Crew members she had known for years, friends who had trained, laughed, and dreamed with her, were gone. Each loss weighed like a stone on her chest. Lieutenant Jiro Tanaka stood beside her, voice low. We did what no one else dared, Captain. But so many are gone. Amina nodded, swallowing hard. Yes. We have won. But the victory is not without pain. Remember them. Fight for them. Every life we lost means the fight continues for their psyche, for every world they protected, for every life saved. Across the galaxy, messages of hope and gratitude began to arrive from planets that had once been abandoned, left defenseless. Survivors watched in awe as transmissions from the human fleet showed them that courage could withstand even the most terrifying force. Humans had fought not for conquest or glory, but to protect. Every planet saved, every civilian rescued, carried the mark of Earth's sacrifice. Even the Galactic Council, which had long dismissed humanity, could no longer remain silent. Ambassador Ryla's voice trembled as she addressed her colleagues. We were wrong. Humans are not weak. They are extraordinary. They fight for life, for hope, for something greater than themselves. Back on the front lines, the remaining Zalrath forces were scattered but still dangerous. Their numbers had been reduced, their morale shattered, yet they would strike again if given the chance. Captain Amina knew the fight was not yet over. Humanity's role in the galaxy had changed, but so had the stakes. Every battle henceforth would carry the memory of the fallen, and the responsibility to protect those who could not protect themselves. In the aftermath of battle, the Resolute's crew moved tirelessly. Engineers repaired hull breaches, medics tended to the wounded, and communications officers sent messages of warning and hope to neighboring sectors. The human fleet, battered but unbroken, was a symbol of determination. Each crew member understood that their fight was bigger than themselves. It was for the galaxy. Amina stepped onto the observation deck, looking out at the remnants of the battlefield. Twinkling stars reflected in her eyes, mingled with the smoke of destroyed ships. She could almost hear the voices of those who were gone, their courage, their laughter, their dreams. "We will honor you," she whispered. "Every world we save, every enemy we face, it is for you. Humanity will never forget." Jiro joined her, placing a hand on her shoulder. "The galaxy will remember, Captain. They've seen what we are capable of. Even the Zalrath, they know we are not to be underestimated." Amina's gaze hardened with resolve. "Let them know it. Not just the Zalrath, but the Council, the civilizations, everyone. Humanity has arrived. We may be small in numbers, but we are infinite in courage. And we will keep fighting, no matter the cost." As the fleet prepared for the next engagement, a quiet determination settled over the crew. They had lost much, but they had gained more than anyone had expected. The knowledge that bravery could change fate, that unity could defy empires, and that humans could inspire the entire galaxy. In the silence of space, where stars shimmered cold and distant, Earth's Armada shone bright, a beacon of hope, courage, and sacrifice. And though the pain of loss lingered, the human spirit remained, unbroken. For every life lost, 1,000 more would rise to continue the fight. Humanity had proven itself worthy, not just to the galaxy, but to themselves. And somewhere across the void, a single truth echoed through the remnants of the Zalrath fleet. The humans of Earth would never stop. The Zalrath had retreated, but they were far from defeated. Across the galaxy, their remaining fleets regrouped, dark and menacing, preparing one final strike. Their target was Earth itself, the tiny blue planet that had defied an empire. They believed that destroying Earth would crush humanity's spirit and end the war. Captain Amina Khalid stood on the bridge of the Resolute, staring at the fleet assembled before her. The ships were fewer now, battered and scarred, but each crew member carried the weight of courage and determination. Every life lost had become a reason to fight. Every victory a reminder of what humans could achieve when they refused to surrender. Lieutenant Jiro Tanaka's voice broke the tense silence. "Captain, they're coming. All of them. Earth will be their target." Amina's jaw tightened. "Then we meet them here. We do not retreat. We fight for every life, every world, every hope. Humanity has faced impossible odds before, and we have always stood. Today will be no different. The Zalrath fleet emerged from warp, thousands of ships blinding the stars with their energy signatures. Their intent was clear: total annihilation. The void trembled as their warships opened fire, firing beams of destruction toward the approaching human fleet. But the humans did not falter. Fighters darted through energy blasts, warships maneuvered with unmatched precision, and the Resolute led the charge with unwavering determination. Each strike was calculated, each move designed to protect what they had fought so hard to save. Amina's voice carried over the fleet's comms. "Hold the line. Every ship fights for those who cannot fight themselves. Every shot, every maneuver, every sacrifice matters. Humanity will not bow." The battle was brutal. Explosions tore through space. Ships collided, and stars seemed to shiver at the violence of the fight. The Zalrath unleashed their deadliest weapons, seeking to overwhelm the humans, but the human fleet adapted, countered, and pressed forward. Even as ships fell around them, human crews did not give in to fear. Their resolve burned brighter than any laser, stronger than any shield. In the heart of the battle, Amina saw the Zalrath flagship, the command core of the Empire. Destroy it, and the remaining forces would collapse. She rallied the fleet. "Target the flagship, every ship, every fighter, focus on it. Today, we end this empire." The fleet moved as one, striking with precision and courage. The flagship's shields flared, engines faltered, and with a final coordinated assault, it erupted into fire and debris. The shockwave scattered the remaining Zalrath ships. Their forces, leaderless and demoralized, surrendered or fled into the void. Silence fell across the battlefield. The human fleet, battered and exhausted, held firm. Earth was safe. The Zalrath Empire, once feared and unstoppable, had been broken. Captain Amina stood on the bridge of the Resolute, breathing heavily, tears streaking her face. "We did it," she whispered. We actually did it." Lieutenant Tanaka placed a hand on her shoulder, voice soft but proud. "Not just us, Captain. Humanity. Every person, every life on Earth, they made this possible." Across the galaxy, civilizations erupted in relief and celebration. Planets that had cowered under the shadow of the Zalrath now looked to humanity with admiration and hope. The humans of Earth had not only defended their planet, they had changed the course of galactic history. And yet, Amina knew the victory came at a cost. Lives had been lost, ships destroyed, and families grieving. But the courage, sacrifice, and determination of humanity had proven one undeniable truth. No force, no matter how powerful, could break a species willing to fight for hope, for justice, and for life itself. As the human fleet regrouped, engines humming, lights flickering across scarred hulls, a quiet pride settled over every crew member. They had faced the impossible. They had stared into darkness and emerged victorious, and in the silent void across countless stars a single message spread. The humans of Earth would never bow, never surrender, and would fight for the galaxy whenever it called. The battlefield was quiet now. The once mighty Zalrath fleet was gone, shattered or scattered into the void. The human armada, battered but unbroken, drifted among the stars. Engines still warm from the fight, shields flickering but intact. Silence hung heavy, but it was a quiet filled with triumph, sorrow, and hope. Captain Amina Khalid stood on the bridge of the Resolute, looking out at the remnants of the conflict. The stars glimmered like distant diamonds, and the debris of destroyed ships floated like fallen giants. Her heart was heavy with the memory of lives lost, but also filled with pride. Humans had faced an empire that had crushed countless civilizations, and they had not only survived, they had won. Lieutenant Jiro Tanaka approached quietly. "Captain, the galaxy, they're watching. Everyone is seeing what we've done." Amina turned, her eyes reflecting a mixture of exhaustion and determination. "Then let them see the truth," she said softly. "The truth is that courage can defy fear, that hope can outshine darkness, that even the smallest world can change the fate of the stars. Across the galaxy, transmissions poured in. Planets once under Zalrath oppression cheered. Scientists, civilians, and soldiers alike spoke of Earth's fleet as a symbol of bravery. The Galactic Council, humbled and astonished, sent messages of respect and gratitude. Leaders who had doubted humans now bowed in recognition. Humanity, underestimated for centuries, had become a beacon of inspiration. Even in distant systems, species who had remained silent now took action. Fleets assembled, planets fortified, and alliances formed. Humans had shown them what it meant to fight not for greed or conquest, but for life, for justice, for hope. Humanity's courage had ignited a spark that the galaxy could not ignore. Back on the Resolute, Amina's crew moved quietly, tending to the wounded, repairing ships, and sending messages of warning and guidance to sectors still in danger. Each member felt a shared pride. They had been tested beyond anything imaginable and had emerged stronger. They had carried the weight of millions of lives on their shoulders, and they had not faltered. Amina closed her eyes for a moment, remembering the fallen, friends, comrades, heroes who had given everything. Their sacrifice had not been in vain. Every world saved, every life preserved, every star that still burned was a testament to their courage. "We fight for them," she whispered, voice trembling. "We carry their memory forward in every battle, every hope, every victory." Jiro looked at her, voice steady. "Captain, the Zalrath are gone. For now the galaxy is free, and it will never forget who gave them that freedom." Amina smiled faintly. "Freedom is never given. It is taken by those willing to fight for it. Humanity has shown that today, and tomorrow we will keep showing it." In the years that followed, Earth became a symbol of bravery. Humans led coalitions, shared knowledge, and inspired countless civilizations to rise against tyranny. Their example proved that size, technology, or history did not determine a species' worth. Heart, courage, and unity did. And somewhere in the quiet expanse of space, a simple truth spread from star system to star system. Do not underestimate humanity. For every star they lit with hope, for every world they protected, for every life they saved, humans had written their story across the galaxy, not with force, but with courage. They had arrived as underdogs, underestimated and dismissed. Yet they became heroes, symbols and legends. Captain Amina Khalid stood one last time on the bridge, looking out at the endless stars. The galaxy was watching, listening, and learning. She felt a quiet satisfaction, tempered with humility. Humanity had changed the course of history, and the story of their courage would be told for generations to come. "They thought no one would come," she whispered, voice soft but filled with power. "But we did, and the galaxy will never forget it." And across the stars, in every system, the truth resonated. Humans had arrived, and they were unstoppable when united by hope, courage, and determination.